Alrighty guys, welcome to another video on my 2007 GT500 here. This is going to be kind of a fun one. So, going to be comparing three different exhaust setups I've had on this car. And a couple other little maintenance items here and there. Some really cool 3D printed rear backup camera I want to get installed. And we got to do a little bit of maintenance here and there. So, first part of this video is going to be exhaust. And then we'll kind of get into the other stuff down the road. But yeah, so if you like the video, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you love the cams, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment. I have a whole series on how to install those further back in the channel from about 2 years ago, and the car's still pulling and doing great. So, without further ado, let me go and get into this thing. All right, so like I just said, this is my 2007 GT500. Got cammed, VMP supercharged, pretty stout setup, pretty happy with it. So, I got three different exhausts that I've tried on this car, technically two, and I'm about to try the third today. So, first one, I did Corsa Sports with long tube headers, X-pipe from Cook's, and stock little bid pipes right there, and then that's about it. So that's the setup on the car. I went ahead and traded the I'll be back up a little bit. I went ahead and got rid of the Corsas for a set of stocks, kept the Corsas, but put on a set of stock mufflers with aftermarket tips. Pretty big fan of how that sounds for the most part, but it's a little bit quiet. I'm looking for something kind of in between those two. So I went ahead and put the Corsas up for sale. Someone reached out and asked if I wanted to try out a pair of Borla S-types. And you know what? I think that might be the trick. So we're going to go ahead and swap those on, and then we're going to do a comparison between a watt pull, idle, and yeah, it's really, I guess it's really the only two things to do, right? So, and kind of driving around in general. Main issue with the Corsas was they sounded amazing at watt, sounded amazing at idle, but the mid-range when just driving around, as soon as it broke like 2,000 RPM, it sounded just so raspy. It was super loud and obnoxious, and I'm kind of over it. So, stocks absolutely clean up everything. If you're looking for a budget option, definitely go that route. But again, they're a little bit too quiet. Get on it, yeah, you kind of hear it, but the cam chop, everything just has this weird, like, little mid-range. Rasp isn't the right word I'm thinking of, but it sounds almost tinny, like almost kazooey at a certain RPM. Not a fan of that, so we'll try out these Borlas and then see how it goes. So without further ado, let me start this thing up. You'll hear it real quick with the stocks. We're going to back up onto some ramps and get these things swapped out. So that's the cold start with the stock mufflers. Let's try out the Borlas next and see how that goes. All right, so these are them. Pretty good shape. No worse shape than the Corsas anyway, which is awesome. This thing looks pretty clean. So Borla S-types, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing these incorrectly. I used to say it absolutely awful in the early days of the channel. I think I said like Borla or something like that. Now it's just Borla. So whatever. Hopefully I got it right. But changing out the exhaust, pretty simple under here. Once you're underneath the car, so 15 right here, 15 right there. Go ahead and pop the pipe off first, then you can wiggle the whole thing out of its exhaust hangers. There's one there and there's one on the opposite side over there, and it usually comes out pretty easily. And then unless the hangers are wildly off, I've had to bend these occasionally, but unless they're wildly off, it'll usually be off center in the exit, and you can kind of loosen the middle pipes and just kind of swing them back and forth just a little bit until you get centered up. So we'll see what we have to do with this one, but I'm gonna go and flip you guys time lapse, and let's go ahead and change these things out. All right, well, that's always a good sign. It's pretty dang centered in there. So looks good to me. Let's go ahead and hit up the other side now. All right, well, both pretty centered in there. Looking good. Let's go ahead and try it out. Kind of excited. Go turn this thing on. Oh man, that is way bassier. Holy cow. And loud. That ain't quiet. I don't know. We're gonna have to take this thing for a drive. That is so bassy. Oh my goodness. drum going off. That's crazy. Well, let's go for a spin, see how it sounds. Well, initial impressions. It definitely isn't a kazoo. I'll tell you that. This thing has it has some smoothness for sure. Kept the smoothness of the stock on takeoff. It doesn't go into that crazy rasp that the other Corsas did, which I was not a fan of. I don't know, man. That's different. That is a very different sound. I am shocked Buffalo changed it that much. So we're gonna do a little rip real quick and kind of see how it sounds. I will say right off the rip, my immediate impression: these things drone a lot. So that is a concern that I am not super stoked about. They have some serious drone compared to the other ones. I think that bass is where that drone is coming from. So go and dig for a rip and kind of see how it sounds, I guess. Still hear the supercharger whine, all that good stuff. I don't know. This is it. It feels like a lost cam chop sound and just gained this really irritating bass sound that I'm not really stoked with. It's like someone overamped the car, and yeah, I don't know. That kind of sucks. But alrighty then. Well, that was short-lived. The Borlas are right here. I actually wound up selling those already, so I think they're honestly not a bad setup for a non-cammed car, but the cams add so much bass and so much different tones to it. Pretty bad. So the stocks are back on, and I think I'm going to keep them. Honestly, by far the best sounding exhaust I've had in this thing so far, and it's pretty crazy. I never would have guessed that I would have wound up with the stocks on, but it is what it is. I like the way it sounds at watt, I like the way it sounds at idle. I can talk, I can not wake up the whole neighborhood. I think it's I really do think it's a win-win. So I'm going to stick with the stocks for now. Probably not going to change that up, but next thing, I got to fix the AC. It's getting hot. So we had a little flooding issue. I think our blend door either simultaneously or bit the dust. So this is the part number right here, and it goes up underneath the dash in here. It goes up back in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this thing out the rest of the way. I gotta undo some screws down here, and I can pull it out, and I'm gonna do that off camera, but yeah, not fun. It's only blowing out of the top vent right now. Well, it took a little bit of time, but she's all buttoned up, and AC's blowing where it's supposed to now. Pretty stoked. I think I may have actually just loosened up, or the bolts I tightened up last time may have just loosened up, but either way, pretty stoked. That's back together now, so on to the next thing. All right, so, well, back in the garage. So that's kind of takes care of the exhaust stuff, back to the stocks, and honestly, I think they're my favorite. So moving on from there, we're gonna go ahead and install a rear backup camera in here. So there's a guy by the name of Sam Lilly, who runs Streetcar 3D. Find him on Facebook. You can find plenty of 3D parts that he will print, and they're pretty sweet. So a little while ago, he put together a backup camera plug-in area that goes right into your license plate spot. So I'm gonna go ahead and show that off, and I wanna show the install. Pretty slick device, honestly, and something that does drive me nuts about this car is not having a backup camera in a good spot. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off, and we'll go ahead and install it, hook it up to the existing radio, and it should work out pretty nicely. So without further ado, let me show you. All right, so this is it. So I went ahead and picked up this backup camera off Amazon, which is what came in one of these boxes. And nothing too crazy, but this is the one he suggested that he works with his. So this is it. So you get two LEDs, you get a nice thick piece of printed plastic, and yeah, pretty straightforward. So basically all we got to do, I'm going to run a plug for these guys so that we can get our we can plug it into our car. I'm going to run a slightly different style of plug than an OEM one. I got this multi-pack off Amazon forever ago for the intercooler and some other stuff, and I like them. They're waterproof. So we're gonna go and do that, get these wired up real quick, and then we'll plug them in the car and see how it goes. So it should be pretty sweet. Let me go knock that out. All right, so pretty straightforward. I did check the white is power, black is ground. So it should be good to go. Let's go ahead and get this thing plumbed into the car now. All right, so where this is going, it's gonna replace this piece on the, yeah, it's gonna replace that right there. So we'll go ahead and pull out these two Phillips head screws, and we'll go ahead and pop out the existing one. Should be pretty straightforward, and then it'll mount in right there. Then after that, all we gotta do is figure out how we wanna mount everything else. We got two hands with that. It looks like my rear license plate bulb was out anyway, because now I hit unlock, boom, comes on, and look pretty sweet. So let's go ahead and get this. All we gotta do really here is just plug in our extension cable and then run it up under and into the car, and we'll be good with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and route that next. I'm gonna put it in through this hole right here where my other cables go. Should be easy day. All right, so looking at how this is supposed to be set up, basically our power / trigger is going to be right here. So one's a ground, one is a power. So this is going to hook up to our reverse lamp. So that reverse lamps come on, the camera gets power. That's supposed to be how that works. So go ahead and run this whole thing and get it figured out. All right, so simply fed the cable in, and it turns out there's a super convenient spot right here, the grommet, and that's it. Just fed it through the existing grommet hole, and we'll be able to plug it in that way without any issues. So let's go ahead and do that. We also got some sweet grounds right here, so we're gonna borrow one of those grounds as well. All right, so I went ahead and pulled out my taillight just now just to check what cables are what. So the white and yellow, this guy, is my reverse one. So now we know where that goes, and we'll see how we can tap into that. There's a tap broken on the other side. Actually, we might just do that, I think. I'm gonna leave this out. And because it's already split on the opposite side from a previous repair I had to do on this harness, we'll go ahead and plug it in on the other side. So let me show you right here. So this is my previous repair like I was talking about. So that's the reverse bulb. So we're gonna go ahead and cut it once again right here and splice it in. All right, so spliced it in, ran it through the bumper just like this other extra cable, and it's gonna kind of hang out here out of the way. I'm gonna go put my cover back in, bolt it back up. I'm going to run this on. You may notice, if you have a keen eye, this shrink wrap on the main cable. That's because I was an idiot and cut black. Not the right black. That was the power, the whole video cable. So spliced it back together, but yeah, it was stupid. So let's go ahead and get the rest of this thing sorted out. All right, so lights on, lights off, easy day. So I'm not going to show you how I'm running the cables just because, well, maybe I'll give an overview once I get there, but I got to figure that part out up in the trunk. So I got to pull out my rear seat delete and a whole bunch of other stuff and get those cables up to the head unit up front. So let's go ahead and do that next. But yeah, looking pretty sweet. Pretty happy with that. All right, so you probably don't need to go this far, but I really wanted to get a cleaner install. So I needed to get access to my carpet all the way under here, and specifically there is where it ends. So I'm going to go ahead and run my cable, which I have currently underneath right there, just sitting there. You might be able to see it or not, I don't know. I'm gonna run underneath the carpet, run it underneath the center console area up to the front, and then I gotta pull my radio and figure out which one of these lines goes to my rear view camera option. I think I see it back there actually. If I had to guess, one of these guys, probably that guy. Actually, I'd almost guarantee it's that guy. So there we go. All right, so I swear there's no clean way to do this, but basically on the audio head unit, so they have this plug on mine, the rosin, it's old one, but all we need to do is plug in our reverse cable, the yellow one. This also gets power from the line in the back. Make sure it's plugged in and linked up with the reverse trigger on here. And yeah, it actually works. I already tested it a couple times now. This thing looks absolutely atrocious. I'm gonna see if I can clean up maybe a little bit in here, and then we'll go ahead and get everything put back and test it out. All right, so pretty stoked. Went into my settings, and you get camera settings, and you can have reverse trigger on. So I turned it on for mine. Go back to whatever, doesn't matter. And then yeah, so put it in reverse. Give it a second. Boom, there we go. So the camera does have adjustable settings on it. So it was sideways at first for me, but all I had to do was use a tool on the side here, and there's a little adjustment screw right there, and then yeah, there we have it. So reverse lights on, trigger the camera, and boom, easy day. Honestly, huge shout out, freaking awesome. So yeah, turn it off, back to normal, in reverse, and we're good to go. I was just able to line it up by looking through my back window. And yeah guys, it worked out great. So pretty stoked to have a backup camera. All right, so pretty freaking sweet. Fit and finish is killer. He does a lot of time. I know he had like 5 or 6 revisions of just this little piece to get everything just right on his car. And yeah, snapped right in perfectly, which is ideal. So if you ever need anything, definitely hit up Sam Lilly on Facebook or Streetcar 3D. He works with a lot of companies. We wire everythingracecar.com. I know he's worked with Mustang Lifestyle a little bit. So he does a lot of one-off gauge pods and different different things for these cars that really just aren't in production anymore because they are getting older. He still supports a lot of stuff on there. So, and it's custom work, so definitely check it out. Something he did as well a while ago, I don't remember if I showed this off or not. The gauge that I have for my digital one right here with the actual side vents and everything, this guy, he actually sent me 2 extra ones to do a giveaway with if anyone's curious. So that is these guys right here. They're pretty sweet, pretty slick. So all you have to do is take out your vents, and this slides and pops in. I believe it is this way, and yeah, it holds on to your gauge, standard gauge size, and you get your nice angled vents and everything, and it kind of angles it so that when it's in the car, it kind of points towards you instead of just, you know, nowhere. And you get the electric functionality of it for insert gauge pod. So if anyone wants one of these, leave a comment down below or hit me up on Instagram, all things Boost, and I'll go ahead and get you sent out free of charge, and yeah, it'll be yours. So first come, first serve for those 2, and that's about it. So appreciate you guys watching. I think that's going to do it for this video. Kind of bittersweet. It's probably the second to last video, the GT500, that's going to be on this channel for a while. As you guys may or may not know, I am moving in a little bit and can't take the car with me, so we're definitely not selling it. We're going to hold on to this thing the whole time. It's just going to be in long-term storage for a while. So going to be keeping it with a buddy of mine. He'll be holding on to it. It'll still be stateside, obviously. I'm not going to be stateside for a while, but we'll keep everything nice and clean. And honestly, I think it's a good time to kind of plan and prep and see what I want to do when I come back. So I think billet motor is something I want to take care of on this car. Maybe go for a race car or something. I don't know. Maybe get something else. Who knows? But GT500 is not going anywhere in terms of ownership. It just won't be on the channel for a while. I think I'm going to do one more video with it when I get to North Carolina to drop it off. And then that'll be that. So got our air filter changed out, all our weirdness taken care of. I think the car's in tip-top shape. Maintenance is up to date. Should be good to go. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.